And then there were four, ladies and gentlemen. After 30 games of the ILT20 Season 3, we have got our quarterfinal or semi-final lineup, I should say that, because I keep thinking it's a 8-team tournament. It isn't. It's a 6-team tournament. And my name's Abhi Chaitya. There are three of us to discuss it. And, of course, a few fresh faces, a few familiar ones. Let's start with the fresh ones. And Anirudh Suresh. Anirudh, how are you? That tan from Sri Lanka is really working well, buddy.
Yeah, it's really working well, and I guess it's has to do a bit with the lighting as well, but all good. And yeah, the DC are through. Like, I've been the only one who's backing them for since day one, but they're finally through, and that makes me really happy and really looking forward to the playoffs. Nice rest day, and then we go again. I hope you guys are doing well as well.
Indeed, man. And like you said, DC versus DV was the game the other day. It's turned out to be that they'll meet in qualifier 1 again. Let's just put it out there and confirm that particular lineup of knockout games. Qualifier 1, we'll see, of course, the Desert Vipers, who got the queue first in this league phase with their name, playing Warner's Delhi. Sorry, not Delhi, Dubai Capitals. I keep making that stupid bloody mistake. But then MI Emirates take on Sharjah Warriors in the eliminator, and that's something that we'll talk about later on in the show as well. But first up, Nikhil, how are you? And again, 30 games, the ILT20. Normally say time flies by, but this tournament has kind of had its own ebbs and flows, and some have been enjoyable.
Yeah, many of them. I think some of the things will definitely stay with me for a long time. Whether it is Rutherford at the start, whether it is Banton smashing tons, whether it is Tom Banton getting run out for no reason. Again, we had a few English players teaching us cricket rules, which is always good for the game. So it has been entertaining, that is for sure.
Indeed. Let's just recap what's gone on in terms of the league phase by showing you the standings right now, because 4 Qs, like I said, and it was tough for some fans of the ADKR to take, for them to finish bottom. There is, of course, Gulf Giants as well. Some of their players kind of playing their last game and then going to play other international cricket elsewhere, franchise cricket you may add as well. But look, at the end of the day, this is what matters the most in terms of the ILT20 Season 3. The Desert Vipers, the Dubai Capitals, the MI Emirates, and the Sharjah Warriors. Let's start with Anirudh and his take on who he generally thinks could actually win this competition. Is it the runaway league guys in terms of the Desert Vipers, or do you think there's some resurgence with Dubai Capitals now, with Warner back, Billings back? So who's your pick in terms of winning the ILT20, Anirudh?
I mean, it's a tough call because we saw how Desert Vipers dominated the first half of the group stages completely, but they have lost a bit of momentum towards the end, and I think they have lost momentum at the wrong time. But on the flip side, they have got 2 bites at the cherry, so because they have finished top of the table, so I think they have enough quality to make it to the final. On the flip side, Delhi, again, DC, Dubai, not Delhi. Because of Warner, because of Shea Hope, I keep thinking Delhi, but I'm sorry, it's Dubai Capitals. I'll just stick to DC instead of spelling it out the other way around. So DC had 1 win out of their first 4 games, and now they finished top 2. So they have momentum with their side. They have a couple of big players who've joined them, Warner to name one. So they are looking good, and they have 2 bites of the cherry as well. So I feel like right now, given they have just beaten the Desert Vipers literally like 24 hours back, you have to pencil them in as one of the strong favorites to make it to the final. But I still feel it will be either MI Emirates or DC who will win the... I just feel that MI Emirates still have too much firepower, too much talent in their ranks, and too many clutch players. You look at what Nicholas Puran has done in T20 cricket in the last 1 year. You look at what he's done in the finals of ILT20s. Just to speak of that, you look at the form Tom Banton is in right now, and the way he's racking up like runs easily, at like left, right, and center, he's been like scoring 80s, 90s, and 100s. So, and Fazal Haq Farooqi, the X factor that he brings to the table, and how Halzari Joseph is doing well. So all this thing considered, I feel DC's momentum plus MI Emirates' firepower, individual quality. I feel this is gonna be the final, and the final could go either way. But I strongly feel these are the 2 teams who look the likeliest to win the competition.
Okay, interesting. MI versus DC. We've heard that before. We've seen it before in an IPL final, I think in 2020. Let's see if we see it in the ILT20 final. Remember, Mumbai playing the eliminator, so they have to do pretty much good things to get there first. Dubai Capitals, like Aniro just mentioned, you have Shea Hope just scoring runs for fun. It's going to be almost a game within a game with Banton and Hope kind of competing for that top run scorer chart. I mean, we'll show you that as well. But next, I mean, just a word on Dubai Capitals and how they kind of really dismantle Desert Vipers, if you want to put it that way. Emphatic win, but it comes down to their bowlers more than the batters kind of stealing the plaudits in the last couple of games. You look at even someone like KS Ahmed coming in 4 for 25, Obud McCoy, Chamida has always been good for them. So do you think that the informed team out of the 4 who's made the knockouts?
Yeah, pretty much. And if you look at the fixtures, they are the only team to have beaten Vipers twice.
Yeah.
So that's a very good matchup there to look out for. That both times they were chasing, if I'm not wrong, and the bowlers again. We've spoken about this right through the tournament that teams prefer to chase, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I think in that big qualifier, it will be important because I completely agree with Anirudh that I don't like teams experimenting at the back end for the sake of it, because what you don't realize is you get into bad habits for the wrong reasons, and then it's not easy to recover from there because you're playing different personnel in different roles. So I think that's where Capitals could really benefit. See, we saw the class difference between everybody else in Warner when he came back. I mean, he's come from the BBL, not quite similar conditions, but he's just looked at home, and to hit a 90 odd in your very first game just tells you how much pressure of Shai Hope would be feeling. So I feel it's a very good spot for the Capitals to be in. I think Vipers have a lot to do. I think toss could play a part because they've chased in both games. If Capitals are to bat first, then that I think adds a different dimension. So that is the matchup that I'm looking forward to. Because otherwise, I completely agree with Anirudh on that aspect that I also feel it will be DCMI who will eventually play the final.
Yeah, just to add to what Nikhil said about Warner, just there's one caveat of him carrying a back injury, which ruled him out of the previous match yesterday, basically. So Sam Billings said at the toss that Warner missed out due to back injury. So at this point, we are not sure whether it was a precaution that he was rested or whether he was he missed the match due to injury. Because if it was a precaution, I'll be very surprised because it was a playoff clinch, as in like top 2 was at stake. So unless and until he was completely unfit to play, I don't think they would have not wanted him to play. So that will be a very interesting development because no Warner makes it a completely different proposition altogether for DC. That is something to keep a very close eye on tomorrow. But yeah, I think that's a very big factor heading into tomorrow's playoffs. I think it will be a big moral boost for the Capitals if Warner is fit and firing. Otherwise, I think Vipers will sort of feel that edge if he's indeed injured.
Yeah, I agree. Just the pedigree that this man has in this format, David Warner. I mean, Adam Rossington, no haters here from our side, but we just are calling it for what it is. The fascinating subplot is that Banton Hope thing because they're neck for neck in terms of runs, 467 playing 464 right now. Let's just show you those run scorers and how it's so far transpired in this league. Like I said, Dubai Capitals have been literally reliant on Shea Hope at the top of the order and create numbers, even though he has a low strike rate in the top 5. Look at the average. I mean, really, really good. You look at someone like Tom Banton, who still definitely has a chance to grab that belt. I think the green belt it is for the most runs. And then the others, I don't think they have a chance. Even though Gulbuddin Nayyub has been doing good things, he could be an MVP contender, but that's a chat for later on in the show. Right, just before we talk about the second game, which is MI Emirates and Sharjah Warriors, just reflecting on the week which has gone by, Anirudh and Nikhil. What have we liked from week 4? Winners and losers. It could be a knock, a spell, a moment of madness, a moment of brilliance that you've liked. Take it away. Nikhil, I'll start with you.
Yeah, there were quite a few. I think really enjoyed TK's consistency. I think it's been a while coming and we've all been hyping up. It's very interesting how 2 English lads who have been touted as the next possible crop of people who can really demolish attacks, they have finally started to come good. So that I think is very, very good from that perspective. We had Adam Zampa finally coming into his own, bowling a very crucial spell. So that I think was very good. And apart from that, I think happy for Ryan Khan again. We've spoken about him. All these games are very important for people like him to really get that confidence that, I can be there, perform consistently, and then get a lot more gigs around the world. So I think in terms of the belt, that belt I think is surely sealed by Ayan Khan in that aspect.
Okay, I just want to point out in terms of my winners and losers, I'd go for the losers in terms of the ADKR setup, because never would you like to see anyone finish at the bottom of the pile, but it is the brutal fact. And you look at someone like Narayan, absolutely been a shadow of himself throughout the tournament as a captain, as a player, more so. Andy Russell, we saw what Anirudh put out in terms of a written piece, the fact that he took that 4,500 long journey after he got a duck for ADKR to, of course, represent another team in the BPL. So just losers in terms of the ADKR setup. I mean, it was a tough one for Bravo to take his coach as well first up. So I would stick on that. Any other winners? I mean, plenty of winners, which we'll come to later. But what caught your eye, Anirudh?
See, I'm gonna go with someone who sort of has proven that he's not just a flash in the pan in this season, and that is once again I'm gonna sort of circle back to Gulbadin Naib, because we saw how he made an impact with the ball in the first few games, and he's completely sort of dominated it with the bat in the almost in the second half. 55 not out again the other day, and he's just nailed down the number 3 spot for DC. And look, he's one of 5 batters this season to score 300 plus runs. He's averaging 45 and striking at nearly 160. And on top of that, he's taken so many wickets for them at the death by using his cutters and pace variations and all that. So we were all sort of surprised when we saw Gulbadin make such a profound impact with the ball in the first few games of the season. But now it's almost like he's a reliable rock for DC with both bat and ball, whether it's some random overs at certain stages, or nailing down that spot and sort of helping Shea Hope and the others sort of just give some support and consistency. So I completely I'm gonna tip my hat off to Gulbadin Naib for what he's done in this season, and I think it's high time, and it's great to see someone who clearly had potential finally sort of realize it.
No, absolutely. He's fourth in the run getters list with 314 runs, 9 wickets for good measure as well. So that makes him a package. And who knows whether it's an early shout from Anirudh's MVP of ILT20. Right, let's just get the second game previewed right now in terms of the MI Emirates Sharjah. This is a Thursday night game. We will be doing Twitter Spaces as well, so don't worry about it. But what are your predictions for that game, Nikhil? Because Anirudh alluded to an MI DC final. Are you with them? Sharjah has been good. They've had good moments. I remember them chasing down 202 thanks to a brilliant 81 from a Sri Lankan batter. Then you take a look at some of the other performances. But do you think MI will just win this? Because they've entered this literally playing Sharjah Warriors and losing to them.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting. But as Anirudh said, it looks difficult to not pip them to get the better of Sharjah Warriors. So what is interesting is the wins have been big. So that is something that I really feel very that it is not. I don't expect a close game there. I think it will be a one-sided affair, because you look at the results that these two sides have had against each other. Earlier, Banton smashed a ton and they won it convincingly. And in the last game, you had TKC doing TKC things. So I think the bowling of both the teams, whoever bowls first is going to feel a lot more confident that what we will do is we'll just keep them to a score and then we'll smash our way to a very good win that way. So I think MI have too much in their power, even with Fletcher coming good. Now, you say Pollard is going off, but then they haven't missed him much. So that is a good positive, because now you have Kusal batting lowered on the order. So I feel MI have too much that they might have to not worry. And again, it is in Abu Dhabi where you have seen new ball movement, which can decide the game. So I feel whoever bowls first will have that advantage on that given day.
And it's not just as blindly supporting MI, because they have Tom Banton, who's in form. They have Fazalak, who's in form. But they also have someone like Nicholas Purin, who Anirudh mentioned. So maybe the cards are slightly tilted towards MI. But if that Sharjah Warriors fans watching this, Anirudh, where is that little glimmer of hope you can give them as a side?
Yeah, I mean, what I just spoke about DC a while back as well. I think Sharjah are also picking up momentum at the right time, and the brilliant thing for them is that they've had a lot of good overseas additions to their team at the right time. So if you look at what Matthew Wade, for example, did for them towards the end of in the last match he played, I think he scored an unbeaten 45 or 44. think they've got Zampa coming in as well. They've got Adam Milne, who's in good form. They've got Ashton Agar, who is sort of, probably not been at his best with the ball in hand, but you've seen him sort of chip in with the bat here and there, and he's contributed nicely whenever he's had an opportunity. And TKC looks to be in the form of his life. Not exactly, but look, TKC in ILT20 has always been a very, very potent top order batter, and he's been, again, if he's not been as good as Banton, at least he's been a level below the likes of Banton and Shea Hope, and you can probably say he's clear cut, almost like the second best batter in the league. If it's a tie between Hope and Banton for number one spot, probably TKC has been the second best batter in the league. So they've got all that going, and of course they have a very potent bowling attack. You look at what the likes of Saudi, Dilshan Madhushanka, Adam Milne, Ashton Agar, Zampa. I mean, that's a fantastic bowling attack which can hold up to any batting lineup in the world because of the experience it possesses. Not just at the domestic level, but also in an international, from an international perspective. So while both myself and Nikhil spoke about the firepower MI possess, on the flip side, if you look at outside Banton, they've not had anyone contribute consistently. Yes, Puran has done well here and there. Someone like Mohammad Wasim has had a very forgettable tournament. He's averaging like 19 or 18, having played every single match, opening the batting. Kusal Pereira never clicked. Pollard has been like on and off. Puran, he's not been the Puran we know. So, we have seen with MI in SA20, funnily enough, a tournament like SA20, they have every single star available. They're stars from 1 to 11, and yet you saw what happened in the first two seasons where they could not just make it to the playoffs at all. So if this format has taught us one thing, it's just that you can have all the big names you want, but momentum matters a lot. It's about team combination, it's about role definition, it's about sort of chipping in with little contributions across the side, and that's what Sharjah have been doing. So if you're Sharjah, I think you have to go in with all the confidence in the world that you can topple MI easily because you've just done it 48 hours back. So I think it's going to be a very tight contest. Unlike, Nikhil feels it could be one-sided, it could go one-sided either way, but I feel it'll be, for some reason, I feel it'll be a very tight contest, and I just feel Sharjah getting over the line in that. Going with my gut feel.
He's changed his gut feel now. He started with DCMI as the final. Now he's gone with Sharjah. Well done.
Yeah, you guys are just swinging like a pendulum. But like you mentioned there, Sharjah, if they can do what they did and make it an encore of Sunday night, it'll be brilliant because they chased it down with 2.4 overs to go to chase something over 170 is still brilliant. It came down to TKC and all of that. So I would still want to go with Sharjah, to be very honest with you guys, because listening to both of you all in terms of your analysis, I generally feel like if you look at the batting lineup of Charles, Wade, Roy, and the rest of them, that can give me a little bit more than the MI juggernaut that they are. But I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments, and we'll take it forward right now. Let's just focus a little bit on the bowlers right now, because we spoke about the batters. We previewed both the games. Who's really stuck out for you here when I show you the top 5 wicket takers so far? I think it's a Zimbabwean lad, Muzrabani. I think he's been fantastic. You can kind of look at Fazalak and what he's been doing throughout. But in the last couple of games, he's just been going on course, nothing really too hectic. So, Anirudh, I'll start with you here. Who do you really like, and who do you think's really surprised you in terms of this lot?
Look, unfortunately, there's one bowler you have a couple of bowlers, actually 3 bowlers from teams that have been eliminated. So, if I have to pick the biggest surprise out of this, which is, I have to go with Jason Holder, because I don't think anyone of us expected him to take so many wickets, especially when his wickets in the shortest format had dried down historically, looking at his numbers. So Holder being 17 from 10 matches is a big surprise, especially when I think across all the videos we have done, spaces we have done, one thing we have spoken about is how probably ADKR don't have enough wicket taking options, and then you have Holder have such a crazy season. To his dismay, they still finished bottom, so that is unfortunately how this format works. But if you ask me who has been impressive, if you just go one bowler down, apart from the graphic we have put down, Chamira has been taking a lot of important wickets at the right time. So I think he's going to be a very crucial factor in the playoffs because I don't know. I mean, if I recall correctly, I think Shamira also had a pretty recent World Cup in the UAE 3-4 years back, especially in the group stages where him and Kumara were just like swinging it under lights and all that. So I think Shamira is a nice X factor to keep an eye out on. Also, I feel Hasaranga for Desert Vipers, he'll play a very big factor. He'll be a very big factor in the playoffs. So these two bowlers are going to be the two bowlers to watch out for in the playoffs, aside from the obvious pick that is Fazil Haq. From surprise package, I feel Mark Adair. I think we have spoken about him a lot. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be for him in terms of taking his team to the knockouts and playoffs. But I feel Adair he's some bowler that one bowler that a lot of teams will be keeping an eye out on, and more gigs might just be on the way for him, if he just keeps up this sort of form. So, but yeah, if you're asking me from a playoffs perspective, I'm gonna pick Hasaranga, Chamira, and I'll pick probably. I'll also go with Adam Milne because of the pace bias we have seen in this tournament. I'm gonna go with these three as the players I'll just closely keep an eye out on. I think they can sort of run through opposition if you just give them an avenue or an opening.
Okay, fair enough. And that has nothing to do with him traveling to Sri Lanka off late. He's picked 2 out of 3 Sri Lankans there. Count the man to do so. But Hasaranga really like that. Most economical, by the way, in terms of the ILT20 and 11 wickets to add as well. Nikhil, any particular X factor for you? Because I know you've hinted upon the youngsters in the UAE who've been very, very good. I think Rohit Khan's one. Ayan Afzal, I think, has the best strike rates in this year's competition. So would you go left field, or would you kind of concur with what Anirudh had to say in terms of his choices?
Bro, he covered 8 out of the top 10 wicket takers that are there in the comp. So there is hardly anything for me to say in terms of who's missed out there. I'll just name the people he's missed out. He's missed out on Mohammad Ahmed, Lockie Ferguson, Gulbadin is spoken about him, David Willey and Tim Southey. So in all of this, I think the one guy who might possibly still decide the game is Lockie Ferguson. I think he started the tournament really well. Again, that pitch that he bowled to Joe Clark, you're not going to forget it for a while. So if Vipers can get Lockie to really fire up top, I think it will really set the tone for Capitals, because Capitals are top heavy. And they are a side that likes to bat deep and then, flourish with their all-rounders. So I think that is the one bowler that I feel. And if he goes well in that first game, I won't be surprised if he does well in the next one as well and possibly earns himself a lifetime of good performances in those 2 games.
Okay, fair enough. Sports fans saying, yes, I concur, sir. Well done, and subscribe and like if you guys are new. ILT20 feels like it's happening during COVID, saying Nani go for. Look, it's happening, and you guys can catch it on FANCODE, and that's how we'd like to roll with it. Like I said at the top of the show, guys, 30 matches, and there's just 4 games left now. Any game which has really caught your eye massively, the 2 which come to my head. One is the first game, which was, I think, won by 1 run. And then there was another chase that the Gulf Giants had over MI Emirates by 2 wickets. It went out of the final ball and all of that. Were those 2 games the standout games for you, Anirudh, Nikhil? Anirudh, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, we have had quite a few nail biters, but I'm gonna go with 2 chases actually. The first one is obviously the chase that which was powered by Avishka Fernando in that Sharjah encounter where he scored the fastest 50 in ILT20. Actually, it's the fastest 50 by Sri Lankan in T20 history. Until then we had not even seen a big score in the entire competition, and then you saw a big score finally being put up, and you were like, okay, this is going to be too much for Sharjah, who had not really had the greatest of starts to the tournament. And, and then Avishka just tees off and there's no stopping him. He's just seeing it like a football, and he ends up with a strike rate of 300. That's just like ridiculous. You don't see knocks like that every often. I mean, if I'm not wrong, I think it's one of like 12 or 13 knocks in T20 history which have seen a 75 plus score scored at a strike rate of over 300. So that's how rare such a knock is. You see a lot of cameos, but you never see a big score where a player is consistently hitting at 300. Not even having any low patch or anything where he slows down or anything. He's just going full on. So that is one knock that absolutely captivated me, and that chase, the authority of the chase, that properly sort of hooked me in. The second one is I mean, I think I have a very strong Sharjah bias here, but I feel the TKC knock, the first big knock he played where
Yeah.
he took the team over the line. Uh, I mean, I'm gonna pick that because once again, how often do you see an opener bat both the first and the last ball of the innings and take the team home? So I think the equation of something like they needed 16 of 8 or 9 balls, and TKC knocked off every single run, and he even took a single of the final ball of the penultimate over, came over to the other end and did the job himself while facing all 8 balls. And that is also a very rare feat in T20 cricket, where you've had an opener just say go out and say that this is my match, I'm going to win it. You don't have to do anything else, and that is a very something very nice about such a chase. So I'm going to pick those two as my personal favorite games of the tournament as well, because of just how beautiful those two chases were in different ways.
Yeah, two different chases, two to definitely appreciate for the ages if you're an ILT20 fan. Nikhil, where are you in terms of your favorite match so far of season 3 that you've seen? Maybe it was probably fueled by a good knock or an innings, but anything which sticks at the top of your head?
I think I'll concur with the first one that you mentioned about Dan Mosley bowling that last over, and love how Samir reacted to that in the spaces, because it is fun when that happens. The one game that really caught me by surprise was how good Gulbuddin Naik was in the first time when these two sides met, Capitals and Vipers, where he was dropped on 2, if I'm not wrong, Gulbuddin Naik, and then he went on to smash 78. And again, with Gulbuddin Naik, you always feel, yeah, he's there, but he'll not cost you. He'll not cost you, and then he smacks you out of the game. So I think it was a very important knock for Capitals in a way that it's not just the bowling. I'm here with the bat as well, and then you saw him bat higher up the order. So I think it was a pivotal knock at the right time. And again, then you are beating Vipers, who have been looking like the best team of the season. So I think those two games really stay with me for a while.
Okay, super. We have just a couple of minutes to wrap up. And remember, we'll be doing a breakdown post the final of the ILT20 on Sunday night with these two gents, and we'll get all your questions in for sure. Final one for me is the fact that obviously this league is in the UAE, and the UAE players, 2 of them in each team, 2 of them in the starting 11 to be more precise. So who's caught your eye? Is it Ayan Afzal Khan? Is it Mohammad Wasim? Is it anyone else that you guys have seen grow leaps and bounds as a cricketer from a smaller nation, and who could potentially lift that blue belt, as funny as it sounds, because that's the award given to all the emerging players from the UAE camp. So Anirudh, you can go first again here. Who's your take? Alishan Sharifu, is that the name?
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, we've spoken about. I mean, I'm gonna go with Sharafu personally, because the way he carried the ADKR batting lineup, even when there were so many big names around him, and he still managed to be one of the standout batters for them. I think game after game we spoke about the how ADKR have messed up their batting lineup, and he was sort of put in a tough spot by the way they arranged their batting lineup and all that, and still to sort of uh, shoulder the burden and score the amount of runs he had was extremely impressive. I think what he, if I'm not wrong, he's the easily the highest run getter among all the local players, if I'm not wrong. So I feel I'm definitely gonna go with him. Of course, I was gonna say Ayan Afzal Khan as well, but I just feel that in this tournament where not many local batters have really shown through, especially when someone like Mohammad Wasim has had such a bad tournament, is what we spoke a while back. I think it's Sharafu has had a terrific tournament, and I think he's impressed me a lot.
Yeah, there are not that many contenders when you look at it this year, because there are names like Rohan Mustafa, who's dominated UAE cricket for a while. Mohammad Javadullah comes to mind as well. The youngster Rohit Khan, who Nikhil has spoken about various times in the show. But Nikhil, for you, just in terms of a debate, I think you'd go for Ayan Afzal Khan instead of Alishan Sharifu. Am I right?
Yeah, well, of course. Always been a bowler FC guy. 10 wickets, if I'm not wrong, in as many games, and good, very good average of 10.5. I would always take it. Hasn't quite been a tournament to remember of sorts for his side, but again, time and again, he's come in and shown that he has the nerve to really. And I just feel he belongs at this level. Whether it is that last over finish against MI Emirates or him taking 2 wickets in 2 overs and then opening the game for his side. So I feel plenty of talent there, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a lot of gigs around the world because I think he's a star player.
Okay, super. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. And before we go, always fun and games as guaranteed in cricket.com. And that is, of course, just asking these guys to putting their money where their mouth is. Essentially, give me a winner of the ILT20, guys, because Sunday I'll hold you all hostage in terms of who has egg on their face, who needs to peel it off, and all of that stuff. So I'm going to go first and say Dubai Capitals. Are you guys with me? Are you guys against me? Is it Sharjah Warriors? Anyone?
Dubai Capitals.
Okay, Dubai Capitals, love it. And what about Nikhil?
Yeah, I'll go with MI Emirates. I am very keen to see how Anirudh's predictions go because he said Dubai Capitals, he said Sharjah Warriors will win that game. Let's see how it goes.
It's kind of strange from a CSK fan to go MI anything, but he's gone for MI this time around. Let's see if he
the game is always bigger than the ego.
That is true. And with those words of wisdom, we'll sign off. But go check it out on FANCODE, guys. It's been fantastic tournament so far. Watch the last 4 games, and it's literally streaming in English only on that site. Thanks so much for your time, Anirudh and Nikhil. We'll leave it there. Until the next time, it's a goodbye from all of us here at cricket.com. We'll see you soon. Cheers.